everyone. Yeah, so this video is going to be a little bit different to what I'd normally do because this is something I've been thinking about, and also it's something that I've kind of noticed, and I feel that, something that could help creative people, and this is what I've called it, the balance of ego, if you will. And of course, as people probably already know, originally Freud had this idea of the id, the ego, and the superego, and id was about instinct and pleasure and sort of being very sort of childlike, giving into impulse, if you like, and the ego was sort of a bit more balanced, a bit more rational, and then you kind of had the superego, which was like the uber version of that. But I think in recent times, ego has come to mean a different sort of word, which is this idea of someone who's very arrogant, someone who sort of believes that they are the best thing ever. And for me personally, I think there needs to be a balance, because I've seen like a couple of extremes on this, and I'm not saying this to call anyone out, because to be honest, I'm saying this as someone who's been like this as well. And I think, to be honest, it's more in the broad sense that I think as creative people we can be all these things and more at different times, because I think that's the nature of the process, and it's more just being aware of this. So I'm going to go over a few things bit by bit, and I hope this will help you with your creative work, and if not, there we go. Okay, so first up, I wanted to talk about the difference between self-confidence and arrogance, because I do think there's a certain misconception of these things. So for me, being self-confident is being able to do what you want to do, to present yourself, to be positive, but not necessarily full-on toxic positivity. So I think there is this idea, I think sometimes when people sort of go like, you can do it, everyone starts at the same level, and that isn't true. Like, I don't think it's controversial to say that some people have got more resources, some people have got more connections, some people are luckier, and some people are more talented. And I do think, though, that everyone has a shot at this, and I will get to some of the more practical elements that you can do to kind of address this. So, for me, I'm going to use a broad metaphor here. And like I say, before anyone comments, this is not going to be one-to-one literal. So, looking at, say, Captain America Civil War, you have Tony Stark and Captain America. Now, for me, Tony Stark is a good example of arrogance. Now, yes, he can back up his claims. He is brilliant. But Tony Stark also represents some of the worst traits of arrogance, i.e., you become overconfident, you are so set on your goals that you create terrible things without realising it, you rub people up the wrong way, and you end up creating more issues for yourself and for other people without realising it. Now, like I say, being arrogant is not necessarily the same as being a bad person, and there are plenty of people like that who can still get the job done, and, fair play to them. Captain America, for me, represents self-confidence. This is a person who has been through a difficult time, who, even when he didn't have powers, would still stand up for people. And there is this idea that, this is a person who genuinely believes in what he's doing, who is genuinely trying to do the right thing, who is always trying to do this. Now, of course, being self-confident is not necessarily the same as being right all the time. Just because you believe in something, equally, you can be naive, and that can rub people up the wrong way. Like neither of these examples are perfect people. And I think, the Captain America side, you can end up, sort of, and being principled is a good thing, but it could mean that, let's say, you end up creating divisions and you end up creating more problems, again, unintentionally, because you believe in a point of principle, and that's great. But you do have to weigh these things up, and this is why I'm talking about this in terms of balance, and this is always the tricky thing. And the crucial thing for me, my dad gave me this bit of advice once, which is never cry stinking fish, and I'm going to get to this now. Right, so my dad, before he ran his business, worked in the East End, and before he set up his business, he was given this bit of advice. Now, this bit of advice is going to sound very strange when I say it, but when you break it down, not only do I think it makes sense, I think in the age of social media it makes even more sense. And that is, never cry stinking fish. Now, what does that mean? That means if you're in a marketplace and you're trying to sell your fish, you don't yell out, "Come over here, my fish stinks." Like, why would anyone want to then buy your fish? But the thing is, people make this mistake all the time, and they don't know that they're doing it. So, I'm not going to name names, but there are people that refer to themselves as, like, aspiring artists, or wannabe, or, like, they put that prefix in front of their creative handle, and, like, it's there. And the thing is, don't do that. Please don't do that. If you are producing the work, if you're getting it out there, it doesn't matter if you're published or not, you are a writer, you are an artist, you are a creative person, and the challenge is to get things out there as much as you can, because it is so crowded and it is so difficult to do this. And like I say, it is not about saying you're the best, it is not about BS, it is not about getting in people's faces, it is about being confident. It is about presenting yourself in the best way that you can. So, for example, if you want to do voice acting, like, there's a brilliant video. Actually, I think there's a few really good videos that Brizzy Voices did that really sort of tell you the information that you need to know, and learning from that and sort of presenting yourself in the best way that will get people's attention. That's what we're talking about. What we're talking about is kind of the appropriate way that you get yourself forward, so you don't just randomly submit your work to publishers or what have you, but you find out, like, what is the submission process, where do we go, and is it hard? Heck yeah, it's hard. It is hard, it's competitive, because 1 million books get published each year. So yeah, what I'm saying is that you find the way to kind of get people's attention, but you've got to be positive. It is hard, that's the thing, and it does wear on you sometimes, and there are points where you just, you struggle because you're trying to get things out, and it's not easy. But equally, this is why, like I say, I often do like things like Follow Friday and stuff, because you want to say thank you to people that do give you the support. And this is the thing, don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. But most of all, keep pushing. But anyway, yeah, so I've kind of done this in broader sense, but now I'm going to say about how my ego got on kicking, and what you can learn from it. Okay, so I've had a few examples where my ego has had to be kept in check, because it is easy to run away with these things. It is easy to kind of lose track, and this is why sort of you need people around you that can sort of keep you in the right place. And I had this actually pretty early on when I started writing, so I had this idea for this thing called Mixtape, and did it through this sort of self-publisher thing, and I really enjoyed writing it, and I don't regret writing it. But my tutor at the time said, I think it's a bit early in your career for doing this, and I just come out of uni, I was excited, and it's only later you find out that 1 million books get published each year, and self-publishing is hard. Self-publishing is, difficult, and getting stuff out there is difficult, and, you go for it. Equally, it was a beautiful moment where, a friend of mine bought a load of copies, and we were in the pub, and people were reading the book, and it was an amazing moment. And as I said, I don't regret that. I don't regret that for a second, but it was an early reminder, like, don't get too carried away with this stuff. And then another big one that happened, and I'm not going to get into the details of why it happened, but essentially a review video came out, and the work I did got absolutely savaged. And the thing is, when you go through that, it did actually sort of change how I felt about certain things that I watched, and certain things that I looked at, and I suddenly realised, like, yeah, just kind of dumping on things isn't great. And I had a period where I was kind of working out what I wanted to do, and it was that led to creating Reynard City Chronicles, and kind of looking at how we were doing things and how we could do this better. We did research, I talked with people, and I think through that it made this series more of a collaborative process. I got better at asking for feedback, I got better at talking to people, and I think the process has been good. And recently with Chronicles as well, because as I say, we had a couple of issues with artists, and Susie Gander gave me some absolutely awesome feedback, so we changed the format for issue 5 to kind of keep the amount of content for people buying the graphic novel, because I think that's only fair, but equally not giving too much of a workload to one artist in particular. And I think the guys who came on board with issue 5, so Ellie, El Bunny, and as I say, we also reprinted work from Blue Ike and Danielle Gransall and I.L. Palmer, which was terrific. I was really chuffed with that, and I think the reaction's been really good. The reaction's been really positive, and I'm happy to see that, because I think one of the things I like about this comic is the fact that we can showcase different people, and you know, and I think this is the thing. I think you want to sort of work better with people, and having done this as long as I have, you do learn to do this better. And the thing is, people can ask you, like, how you do this, and the honest answer is it's trial and error. I've got to be honest. I think the honest answer with this is try things, talk to people, but most importantly of all, learn from your mistakes. So, I mean, the Oscar Wilde quote, which I think, if you say it in the sort of voice I imagine him saying it, sounds like, experience is what men refer to their mistakes. And it's like, yeah, but that's also true, in the sense that you learn more as you make mistakes, and you develop more. And I'm going to be optimistic and say that I think was more the point, that experience comes from the mistakes, in much the same way as the idea that you become braver after you sort of do the scary thing, as opposed to the other way round. And this is the thing, and this, I think, to be honest, is why I think I really love doing this. And I think what I want to sort of end this on is, you know, talk about sort of why I think it's good sort of doing this as a team effort. Okay, I just want to finish this off because I get asked this question a lot, and it's something that I've been trying to address a lot of the time, and I think it's important to kind of make this as clear as I can. So people sort of ask me, like, do you do the art yourself? And it's like, well, no, there's all these different artists. And I think the crazy thing is often it'll be when I'm at an event where you can see the front of a comic, and the front of the comic will have, like, the credits clearly on there. But, I mean, if you're just talking to people, and I think you just show them an image, fair enough, you can kind of understand that. But that is something that I am looking to correct as much as possible, because I think it's so important for people to know that it's not just that this is a team effort. So I was speaking to Khan Johnson, terrific comedian and writer, who, bless him, you know, has, you know, not only bought all the comics but also posted reviews, and I'm really grateful for his support. But he said, I liked how he put this, which was like, this is like a little cottage industry, and it's true, because all these different things feed into each other. So, for example, if you're someone who puts $1 in the Patreon, that money come the end of the month is money I can then give to the artist. The artist can then do the artwork, which we can then, once the issues are done, we can then take them to the printer, and the printer is a local company, Minuteman Press, and again, awesome team there, and with the last issue they helped with us, and they like reshaped, making sure like the PDF was print ready, which was massive, and I really appreciate that, so thanks Sean for doing that. So, you know, they do a terrific job. We've got Visualize on the website side, so there's all these like businesses that are part of it, and then we're getting this out there, and we've got people, as I say, people biting the comics. We've got people sharing things, promoting it, and as they do that, and we get money in through that, that then means, like I say, we can commission other artists, so that allows them to do their thing. It's a cycle that kind of feeds on itself, and it's not just like artists in terms of people who do sort of pen to paper, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a ton of amazing ones that do that, and which is why we have like the end credits at the end, which will tell you everyone, but it also lists people who have crowdfunded us. It's Supermark Music doing the music, it is Sakura's Light doing the intro, it is as I say, Haley, Helen, AJ, Holly, Joanna, everyone doing like the voice acting side of it, and I'm hoping to get some more people on board for that soon, so watch this space. It is a whole bunch of people. We've been really lucky, and as I say, some of the more kind of unusual elements, like when Polly Pantries did that really cool cake for us, or when we had Bishy Balloons do like a balloon model of AK Guy. Like, I would love like more cool stuff like that. And I mean, the big one, I think the ultimate goal that I want to do would be an animated series, but we will be talking more about that soon. If you want to get in on the pitch, like, as I say, all the support is much appreciated. And to be honest, that's also why I changed the name of this channel. So originally it was under my name, but I changed it to the Update channel because I think I wanted it to reflect the fact that it was more of a group effort rather than just me. So, like I say, the fact that you've got people doing voice acting, the fact that we've got Fan Art Friday, the fact that we had guest contributors for AK August and all the rest of it. I think it's important that the project is the thing. Like, it can never be one person. And like, I've had people sort of say, all you've got to remember is it's your project. It's like, no. What I love is, like, for example, and I'm sorry, Ellie, in advance for embarrassing you, but when you sort of said to me, like, this is working on a Marvel movie, that made me so happy. And when, people like sort of Gizzy and everyone sort of saying how much they love it, and it means the world to me. It really does. And that's the thing, like, it means the world to me because without all these people, this would just be me doodling on scraps of paper, and it would be nothing. That's the thing, it would be nothing. So I suppose the conclusion of this video, and I hope the takeaway you get from this, is that this is an incredible project, and the reason it's an incredible project has nothing to do with me. To be honest, well, I say nothing, I mean, it's my idea, but it can only exist with all the people that make it happen. And like I say, we've got the end credits at the end, we've got a special thanks playlist. Please take a minute to watch it, because all of these people have made this project possible, and it makes me so happy. And the aim is eventually we're going to have a 9-issue series, and it will be made complete, and it will be made complete because of the people that work on it. So yeah, roll them credits, and much love. Bye.